This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Well, hello and welcome to a beautiful evening or afternoon still here in the Maasai Mara. We are sitting with two lionesses. We're not 100% sure which pride they are from yet. My name is Brent Deosmith. I have Archie on camera, and we are surrounded by wildebeest as well. So these lions are in a great spot. You can see there's a big storm off to the south, and there are some wildebeest coming in from the front that look like they might get quite close to the lions if they keep their heads down. Remember, this is 100% live, so you can send questions through to me and everyone else who's out and about on safari by using the hashtag SafariLive. Now, there was reports of sausage tree pride yesterday in this area, so I haven't managed to get a good look at any of the females to see if there are any distinguishing features, as at the moment I've got a bottom and the back of a head. Oh, there might be wildebeest behind us as well. No, not. Just having a look. It's quite difficult to see whether this is a sausage or not just yet. It's not unusual to find two, or one, or three of the sausage tree pride separate from the others. But we're in a good spot here. I almost certainly are going to, I think, hunt before the end of the safari. And you can see there's some big cloud build-up, as per usual in the Mara at this time of the year. Well, I'm going to play the patience game with the sleepy kitties, but it sounds like James Henry has got a Formula One driving glove on. I'm not sure what he's up to.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm not really sure either, but to say that there was a glove. There it is. I think it's a welding glove. My name is James Henry, and Senzo is on camera today. There he is. It's a white hot day here in the Sabi Sands, part of the greater Kruger National Park, of course. You might ask yourself why I'm driving at the speed. Well, we've been told that Thandi, our how old is she now? 12-year-old queen, I nearly gave her 4 years that she doesn't have. 12-year-old queen has killed something around here, and she's sitting around here, possibly with the kill in the shade or in a tree. So we're going to have a hard search around this area and see what we can find. It would be great to see her. Please talk to us using the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter, or of course the YouTube chat stream. And of course it is very nice to have you all on board with us, and I shall endeavour to do better than I did yesterday, driving around a very similar area looking for the very same cat. It is beastly hot out here. It is 36 degrees Celsius, which is 4 million Fahrenheit, plus minus. And, well, we do mention the weather quite a lot over here, and I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon. Now, our first mammal of the day, indicating the absence of a leopard in this immediate vicinity, is an aquabuck. Good afternoon, aquabuck. How are you? Could you desist with your running away? Thank you so much. There we are. Well, I actually did find out what the glove was for. But Senzo tells me he was using it to make a cardboard shelf. Senzo, can you explain to me why we needed the glove for a cardboard shelf?
No, we're trying to use it for put the brush.
Yes, but why did you need the glove to create the cardboard shelf? What did you think you were going to do to yourself?
Because we're going to cut the gloves into 2 pieces.
Are you going to cut the glove into pieces?
Yeah, and then knit it on the side.
And knit it on the side
And then you
and put it over there. All right. Okay, I see. I think I understand, sort of. Anyway, that's what the glove was for. Conrad would be very upset if he thought his glove was going to be cut in half and used as a shelving device. Anyway, let's go down to the water, and then I'm going to come tootling back up this road and see if we can't find something. There was apparently a drag mark. Whether it was here or the other side or not, I'm not sure. This is where Steph and Herbert spent the whole morning as well. So, although I didn't have a great deal of success yesterday, they didn't have too much more. There are a whole lot of impala down there. And them impalas look very relaxed. They are not shouting and screaming with terror at the sight of a leopard. In fact, everything is very quiet. Everything has got that sort of slightly shocked, burnt-out feeling. I think this is the hottest we've had since the termination of winter, about 2 days ago. Well, a bit longer than that. And suddenly, Treehouse Waterhole, which was basically pea green, or still is pea green, and I haven't seen anything drinking from it for some time, suddenly seems to be back in vogue, and I wonder if that hasn't got something to do with the fact that perhaps the algae in it has gone through its life cycle, or maybe the heat is killing it slowly. Anyway, I shall ponder on these things and look for a leopard while you go across to the Maasai Mara, where Jamie Patterson is sitting with an antelope that we used to tell you was the fastest in the world, but in fact is not the fastest in the world, and she can tell you about it now.
I'm looking for Topi, believe it or not. A very good afternoon to all of you, and welcome to the Sunset Safari. We're back in the Maasai Mara, live from one of the most beautiful, but occasionally one of the most rainy places on earth. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon Manu is on camera with me, and we're continuing from our efforts on the Sunrise Safari because the Topi have started to give birth. So this morning on the Sunrise Safari, we saw tiny, tiny little baby Topis trotting about everywhere. And while we've clearly missed the first few births, I do not plan on missing the opportunity to witness one. What is that Topi doing at the... No, it's just standing. I have come to the land of the Topi, this marshy area right in the centre of North Clan's territory, to see if we can find one of them giving birth, or at the very least, just enjoy some more time with tiny baby Topi. However, we have to get lucky, we have to spot the right Topi, and of course it has to be the right time for her as well. And in that case, well, won't be her, because that's a him. You can send through your questions on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, remember, or in the comments section on YouTube. Let us go and find a birthing Topi. So all of the babies were around this area this morning, and I couldn't get close enough to them, to the other females, because it was so wet on these roads. Now it looks as though the storms are going to roll back in for a change, you know, not unexpected. So I'm taking advantage of the slightly more dried out roads while we can, because there's a good chance that we won't be able to come back here a little bit later in the afternoon. I also, of course, have to take Manu to Waffles' den, Manu says yeah, because of course Manu went on leave just before the end of the Gauntlet series, or no, at the end? One episode before the end, and he was with me for the duration of our North Clan following and became equally obsessed with the saga of North Clan. So now that he's back on my vehicle, we've already been to Waffles' den, I confess. She wasn't there. So we've come to look for Topi instead. Okay, there's some Topi around here. I'm hoping I can get onto this road. There's a road that runs this way towards the baby Topi. Jennifer, you want to know, I think, and you'll have to forgive me if I mangle your questions this afternoon. It's just one of those things today. You want to know if you will get a Topi in the Mara, or in Djuma, or if it's just in the Mara. So, a Topi is actually basically an East African subspecies of an antelope called a Sabi. Now, Sabi are found in the greater Kruger area. Of course, Djuma is part of the greater Kruger area. There's no fences between it and the Kruger. However, they tend to prefer the sort of more central parts of the Kruger and the northern parts where it gets slightly more arid. So while it is possible to see a Sabi, which is essentially a Topi, on Djuma, it is very, very unlikely. The main difference is that the coloration of a Sabi is completely different to a Topi. They don't have those stylish black markings down their legs that the Topi here in East Africa have. But very similar in terms of build. They're essentially the same animal, very, very fast. And what we're going to go and do is watch little baby Topis learning to be fast on their little wobbly legs. It's a bad place to have a Topi calf, though. This is North Clan Central, and since the migration hasn't really turned up in North Clan land, there's a good chance they're going to start targeting these baby Topi. And it's muddy, and they're not going to try and ambush them. They're going to try and make them fall. Larry, fortunately, no, Topi are not endangered. They, like every other wild animal species out here, face risks in terms of habitat loss, mainly habitat loss. They could be snared, potentially they could be poached for bushmeat, but Topi are okay. There's quite a few Topi, you will see. Oh, you'll also see a fish eagle shortly, if I can get us onto this road. Might not have been my best idea, but let's just see how we go. It's nice and dry here. Where is the road? Promise you, it's here somewhere. Not that road. Manu's spotted the big road, the main road. Well done, Manu. No, man, there's a road here. I just don't know where it's gone. There's a fish eagle over there while I figure out where the road is. Oh, and a jackal. Don't run away, jackal. Fish eagle, and then jackal to the left. Jackal is now trotting away. Don't disappear. No, it's okay. Oh, we've got to find a nice habituated jackal family. Oh man, I know that this is a road. Where's the road gone? Maybe the jackal is wondering the same thing. I swear there was a road here yesterday. And flop down in the shade. I know there's a road here because it's one of the back routes that I used to get from Waffles' previous den site. Oh well, since that jackal's decided to stay, it gives us a nice opportunity to watch it. Oh, there's a second one. This is now the third time I've seen this jackal pair hanging out exactly in this spot. I wonder, could it be not just the Topi that are having the babies? That would be very nice indeed. But now these jackal are not relaxed at all with our vehicle. We'd have to proceed with great care to check around this area. Yes, Conrad raises a very good point. They could also be there because of the Topi babies. Conrad in final control. He raises a valid point. That could be exactly why I've seen them around here repeatedly. Except that I haven't seen any Topi babies. Oh, what are you looking at? I think maybe my sheer desperation for a jackal den might be clouding my judgment in this. Oof. Hot in the Mara, I say with a smile on my face. It's about 10 degrees cooler here. Flying high, jackals are sort of a part of the fox family. They're not part of the fox family, but they are very closely related to them. So they don't fall under the same genus. Obviously, a fox, the vulpes, I'm not quite sure exactly how you pronounce it, but the vulpes is the Latin name for them. Whereas jackals actually belong to the true Canis family. So, in other words, true dogs. The golden jackal has recently been reclassified as more closely related to wolves than the other species, but they are true dogs. So totally different to African wild dogs, looking more around the actual dog family. An interesting one. They are essentially, however, African foxes. They fulfill a very similar ecological niche. Little, small, dog-like animals eat a lot of insects, but will also hunt and catch rodents, and even small antelope, hence the comment about the baby Topi. They can be quite formidable hunters, even though they are very small. Very similar size to a fox, also quite a vocal creature as well. The foxes, when I lived in the UK, the foxes used to scare me half to death when I was walking back late from the library at night in the dark through the gardens. Oh, those things can scream. Jackal do not have nearly as much of a creepy call as foxes do. You know, the sad thing is Kirst just made a comment, a joking comment about, from the library. The sad part is that is absolutely 100% where I was coming from. I have never been very cool. That's exactly where I was coming from. Back to my room in the middle of the night. Oh, it would be so nice to have a jackal then. These jackal are hot. As I said, I'm saying it's hot in the Mara. It's obviously got nothing on Djuma this afternoon. Something that I'm going to have to get used to when I return back to Djuma. Be interesting to see how my body has adapted to a colder climate. Or a more temperate climate. Wouldn't be fair to call it colder, because it gets a lot colder in Djuma as well. But on average, the temperatures are cooler here. That's why the animals, like the hyenas and the jackals to an extent, are so much fluffier. I'm absolutely determined that there is a road here, and I'm going to find the road. Oh, I think I see it. So while I do that, and while I make my way in the direction of the Topi, Brent is on the opposite side of this marsh, looking at the herds of the migration.
Still sitting in the same spot, the wildebeest are edging closer and closer to the big cats from multiple directions. And I'm just wondering... Oh, there's the Tommy there as well. If being on top of the termite mound is not the best spot at this very moment, because quite easy to spot her from there. And we're still just looking at bums. So difficult to say which lionesses these are. It could be a wino, it could be sausage, it could be olololo. They've all been seen in this area in the last little while. Oh, Kirsten says it looks like one lion. I couldn't hear that quite. It broke up a little bit. Kirsten, go again. Oh, the lion moved, so I'm not sure. So you can see they're a little bit more alert now. There are some young wildebeest calves amongst the closest lot. Those are a bit easier to catch. And it's quite strange because the wildebeest spotted them earlier and snorted, and they seem to have forgotten that the lions are right there. There's an ellie behind there, some elephants behind as well. Lots of game around us. You can hear some zebra calling in the distance. And the wind's died down a bit, so we're starting to get a few more of the wildebeest sounds. The odd frog as well. Trying to look, I can't see well enough to which lions these are. Maybe you guys can help me, see if you can figure out which pride this is from. One on top of the termite mound definitely looking a little bit more alert than the one at the base. Wind is coming from the wildebeest to them, so in their favor. So they are quite exposed where they are at the moment. We'll just see what happens. Closest wildebeest probably 80 meters. Well, we're playing the patience game here, but it sounds like Jamie has found what she was looking for.
Patience game always pays off, and would you look at this? We've got a little wobbly. Oh, oopsie, left, there we go. Tiny wobbly little Topi. I'm absolutely besotted with them. I mean, there's a good chance I'm going to spend the rest of my 5 days in the Mara staring at baby Topi, just to warn you all. I think they are utterly adorable. I mean, they really are strange-looking goat-like antelope. They're not in any way related to goats at all, but there is something very goat-like about them. I'm giving the little wobble plenty of space, and I challenge you to give me the best possible name for a baby Topi, because we can't use toplet in the same way I've done with the wafflets. Tiny Topi it needs something. Topples, the little topples. I love it. Well done, Kirsty. Hashtag Safari Live if you think you can challenge Kirsty at her own game. You probably won't win. She is quicker on the draw than anyone else I know in the world. Oh, we're having breakfast. Or I suppose this would be an evening snack. Tea time, if you were in the UK. Oh, come on, that. If that doesn't warm your heart, then I'm at a loss. That doesn't bring you some iota of joy, then you are beyond the help of Safari Live. Oh, cute. You can see its head bobbing up and down. Those of you who have... Mark suggested Toby, the little Tobies. I like that. Oh, Mum, that was quite violent. She wrenched herself away from her suckling little one, her little Toby. Oh, big stretch. Get those legs all warmed up. Of course, this Topi would, at this point, I would say, now that we saw the new ones this morning, probably be about, 12 hours old? What time is it in the afternoon? Must be about 5, yeah. Maybe about 12 hours old. So already those little legs are... Oh, there goes the sun. Goodbye, sun. Those little legs are working furiously at making sure that it survives the dangers out here, and that's crucial. Okay, let's go forward a little bit. I'm sure it'll let us get a bit closer. It's crucial because night is about to fall, and of course, as I said, this is... Just to confirm, Kirst, Who said they want to name it Warren? Larry. Larry said he wants to name it Warren. Warren as in like Warren. Did I hear that correctly? Okay, we can call this one Warren if you want. With the greatest of pleasure. Hello, Warren. I hope I'm actually hearing this right. Not creating an entire strange scenario in my head. So I have to... Okay, everyone, so there you go. There's little Warren. Warren, the small Topi. Or are we calling all baby Topis Warren, in the same way that Brent calls all hyenas Howard, including Waffles? Run! Run, little one. What you doing, Warren? Having a hop, skip and a jump. This is my favourite thing about newborn babies, or of the antelope persuasion, of the sort of precocial baby mammals. They go through these silly 5 minutes where it serves a purpose because it strengthens their legs, but they just all of a sudden start hopping and jumping all over the place. Baby rhino do it too. They dance all over the show and then fall asleep. And then they get up and they run around and they hop about for 5 minutes and then they go to sleep. I love it. So what Mom's doing there is helping her little one to get the idea of the whole digestive process and actually ultimately the end part of the digestive process. So those of you that have perhaps raised puppies and kittens, if you've ever worked perhaps with very tiny baby animals or orphan baby animals, that's something that needs to be done manually. So with puppies and kittens at a certain age, you've got to essentially do what Mom would do with a warm cloth to help to stimulate the whole movement of the bowel, essentially. So that's what Mom's doing there. Also, of course, making sure that everything's nice and clean. Oh, Warren, you're adorable. Oh, this is interesting. No, you silly male. I'm afraid what you're smelling is not estrus. You are definitely barking up the wrong tree there. Flying high, I think that baby Topi probably have at least the beginnings of a hard ridge where their teeth will come up. But I have absolutely no idea. I do not know if baby Topi are born with teeth. Another one. Oh, it lay down. Warren, lay down. I had my eye on the male. I wasn't watching what Warren was up to. There's Mum. You can see her enlarged mammary glands. I have no idea if baby Topi have teeth. I know that when I briefly played a role in raising a baby buffalo, to cut a very long story short, when she suckled from your finger, she did have teeth already at a very young age, but she used to cover them with her teeth. And she had a big gap in her top teeth. I don't know. Please feel free to tell me if I'm wrong or right. I suspect they do, but I honestly am not sure. I'm going to sit here utterly bewitched by the baby Topi and slightly entertained by the misguided attentions of the male. Meanwhile, James has been far more productive than I have, and he's found himself a spotted cat.
Well, I wish I could say I had found the spotted cat. Unfortunately, I must give credit where credit is due, and that credit is due, of course, to Senzo Mkhize on the back of the vehicle today, using his camera skills and his spotting skills, no less through a pair of dark glasses, to spot Thandi, the 12-year-old Queen of Juma sitting atop a termite mound, looking as generally displeased with life as ever. Well done, Senzo. I and at least 3,000 people gratefully thank you for your efforts this afternoon. Tandy, of course, does not, because she watched us drive past twice, laughing, no doubt, at our incompetence, and then Senzo got her. Now, apparently she may have had a kill here, I'm not sure. Apparently Tlalamba might be around here, I'm not sure. I don't plan on going anywhere today. She seems to have her head up, she does have her head up. She seems to be fairly active and looking around, so it's quite possible that there is another leopard and or a meal somewhere around here. And so we'll sit here with her and find out. Might have to seek some shade a little while from now. My small brain might boil. And what little use it is to me now might become even less. She's found herself a perfect little spot, some bare termite mound, which will be nice and cool. And of course she's got shade from a leafless false marula tree. Just take yourself, we were probably about 3 times the distance we are from this termite mound now. And that was basically the view that Senzo had. Undaunted, he spotted her. And he has a way of telling you about it that makes you think that he's seen a sparrow. He says, Maluma, there's the leopard. What? What do you mean? Yeah, the leopard, it's just over there. How? Where? And then he points it out, and there she is. She doesn't look very full. No, I say that. She does look like she's eaten something. Hello, Rosalind. Yes, indeed, leopards are able to swim and swim very well. They are not known for swimming like jaguars are, but they certainly are able to swim. I don't know if they ever do it out of choice. Probably not, but they can swim. Just about all mammals can swim, actually. There are very few that if you toss them in water won't be able to swim to the side. The human being obviously being a notable example of an animal that has to learn to swim rather than just master it by being tossed in the water. My father's dog is another. Fenton doesn't like to swim, everybody. So something's caught her attention out in front there. I wonder if it isn't where Tlalamba is resting, possibly with the carcass, and something keeps catching her attention behind her. And so we'll wait and see what that is. The air is almost stiflingly still right now. There's almost no breeze, which is a good thing. And it's a good thing because today, with the temperature like it is, and the lack of moisture in the air and on the ground, it is a really dangerous time for bushfires. And so it would not be surprising to see smoke on the horizon or smell it. So we've got to be very careful this time of the year when the temperatures get like they are now. But with a lack of wind, there is a little bit of wind coming through now, but with a lack of wind, that would be easily contained. A day like this with a lot of wind, very difficult to stop a fire. Just looking around to see if I can't see what she can see. Alrighty, well, we see if we can find maybe Tlalamba or an impala kill. We're going to go back to Jamie, who's got a bird that normally fishes and is now digging for some reason.
Well done, James. Bravo, especially in the heat that they are experiencing. It has now gone from hot to cold in the Mara in the space of 5 minutes. The fish eagle is not too concerned. He's just landed on the edge of one of the, we would term them drainage lines in South Africa. Really, they're properly termed luggers here in Kenya. And essentially it's a creek, to describe it for our newer viewers. He's landed on the edge, or she has landed on the edge of a creek that has been filled up with the rain that has come through recently. Now this particular creek, oh, nice, Manu. Pity about that tree. You could have done something about that, surely. Obviously. or perhaps not. Wait, we'll follow it now, because the little baby Topi is now fast asleep. I wish you could have seen what the male was doing. It was hilarious. The male Topi, he walked up to her. Oh, I hope there's no one behind me. I didn't even check. No. He walked up to her and started doing a full display with his high walk. And then he was slamming his head into the ground to show just how big and strong he is. And naturally, she's not interested in mating right now. She gave birth roughly 12 hours ago. So he really has got his wires crossed there. It's obviously because of the pregnancy hormones, the fact that she smells interesting to him. He's just misinterpreted the smell. We'll go back to the baby Topies, never fear. But since this fish eagle is now looking like it might actually want to catch a fish, it is actively searching. Let's stick with it for a little bit. Oh, beautiful. Against the cloudy sky of the background. Manu, is it with you when we had this fish eagle? Jessica, you say gorgeous thing. It is gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. Very nice, Manu. They are beautiful. Manu and myself were here not so long ago when it caught a monitor lizard. Okay, we're going this way. Let's go this way. Actually, probably a better idea because... Mila. Probably a better idea because Manu will have a greater range of motion if we turn around. And the topies will go to sleep, so we'll come back to them in a bit. Oh, what I'm worried about is it's going to start raining and we're going to watch North Clan come running in to take out the baby topies. I have a feeling tonight, if it rains, that is exactly what's going to happen. All part and parcel of the way of the world. This is where all the male topi live, I've discovered from my careful scrutinizing this morning. The male topi live this side and the females have all gone that side. Oopsie. Oh, subtle. Mila's brakes moving in subtly there. I've been trying to stop without them. Okay, off we go this way then. There's a big pool up ahead where I think that fish eagle is aiming. Oh, whoopsie. Whoopsie. Misjudged that completely. Better hope you're more accurate when you go for the fish, buddy. Alright, speaking of hunting animals, our fish eagle is on the hunt, and there's a distinct possibility that the lions might be joining in shortly.
Well, welcome back. We're still sitting with these lions, and they have not moved a muscle. And the wildebeest are getting closer and closer. They're now probably about 30 meters away, and those lions have turned into proper rocks. Scott is asking, does the lioness on the termite mound think she's well hidden? I think she knows if she keeps dead still, the wildebeest are not going to pick her up. You can see there's quite a lot of rocks around here, so if they don't move till the last moment, I think the wildebeest will think that they're a rock. The one to the right there started sort of moving slightly, getting almost into a slightly better position, But I say those wildebeest have to be a lot closer before she's going to launch. It's amazing that just before the drive started, the wildebeest spotted the lions, snorted at them, and now they seem to completely forgot that the lions were here. There's a relatively strong breeze coming across the face of the wildebeest. Oh, we've got some crowned lapwings in the foreground there. And we don't want to move the car or move at all at the moment because those wildies are getting so close. You never know, they might get thirsty. And there's some water right next to us, so they might come down for a drink, which would put them very much within grasp of the lions. I think it's still going to take another little while for the wildebeest to get close enough for the lions to make their move. So Jamie's got a feathered creature on the hunt.
While the wildebeest make up their mind as to whether or not they're going to feed the lions tonight, we have our fish eagle still, and bonus points if you can tell me what bird was behind that fish eagle's head, or is behind the fish eagle. Oh, it's seen something. The fish eagle, I mean. Definitely changed its body language. Unfortunately, it suddenly decided that it's actually quite shy, so it won't let me get much closer than this, and obviously I'm not going to jeopardize its hunt by frightening it, so we're just going to sit here and wait and watch carefully. You could see that change in look, the way it focused down into the water. Now, fish eagles, just because they're called fish eagles, doesn't mean that they have to catch fish. They do. And primarily, they will feed on fish, but they'll also catch other things, like monitor lizards, potentially snakes. So they're not limited to fish and fish alone. And I mentioned that Manu and I saw one with a rock monitor or water monitor lizard. I don't think we ever quite saw exactly what it was. I can't remember now. But I mean, it had a big lizard. Too big, in fact, I think, for the fish eagle in the end, and I think it abandoned it. Whatever attracted this fish eagle's attention, so obviously he decided it wasn't worth it. It's still looking. Birds, of course, have eyesight that would put ours to shame. Say my name. Yes, fish eagles co-parent like bald eagles do, and in fact most raptor species are monogamous and exceptional parents, both the male and the female. So they are very committed to child rearing or chick rearing. Honestly, most birds are, in one way or another. There are, of course, exceptions to that rule, and there are some parental birds that pay absolutely no attention to their chicks, like cuckoos, and some instances where the male bird plays no role at all. But they are, as a rule, male birds tend to be better parents than male mammals, if you know what I mean. You know, lions or hyenas or leopards, they pay absolutely no attention to their offspring, and really do not really... They do play an important role in their offspring's life, don't get me wrong, but they don't necessarily actively parent, whereas a lot of male bird species do. And raptors in particular are very good parents, as are owls, which I suppose fall in the same category. And then talking about good parents, actually, a little bit earlier we were watching that fish eagle being mobbed, and by a bird that belongs to the same family as this little chap, this little three-banded plover. They are also... Oh, that fish eagle's gone down. It's landed on the bank. It hasn't gone for a hunt. Let's just go forward. Let's see if it'll let us go forward a bit. I'll watch it carefully. Lapwings are fantastic parents, and they all take responsibility for protecting their chicks. Well done, Project Alpha. It was indeed a pied kingfisher. I'll take you to see it in a bit, if it's still there. I have no particular goal this afternoon. I'm quite happy to just bumble along. And this is a very productive river system. Just going very slowly, just in case we startle it. Although sometimes, particularly in the Mara, animals seem to react more to you if you go slowly than if you go quickly, because they're used to people driving fast. And then they get upset because they realize that you're paying attention to them. I shouldn't do it, but I'm stopping the car with the gears so we don't get squeaky brake. What have you got? Or what have you seen, should I say? The most iconic shot of the African fish eagle is as it swoops in, gloriously, talons extended, and snatches a fish from the surface of a large body of water. Okay, let's go over to Brent, I think.
Okay, well, the lions, I think they might have just been spotted. Female moving on the top, trying to get down the termite mound. Oh no, maybe not. Or maybe they've been spotted by a few others. Behind them, to the left a little. There's been movement picked up. I said that top of that termite mound was not a good spot to be waiting. You can see that single wildebeest there has got the stare on. Yeah, I think they've been spotted by the ones off to the left. But you never know what happens. They might notice an injury or a wound in one of the lions. And they're starting to walk a slightly wider berth from the cats now. Oh dear, girls. You definitely got that one wrong about when to move down the termite mound. Can you hear the snorting? They have been spotted. And you can see even the whole body posture relax and they move. Okay, well, we're going to slightly move the car now that they've been spotted. In the meantime, let's send you back to Jamie.
Guess what? We're also going to move the car. Sorry about that. It's Murphy's Law. It's one of those things with live wildlife. The fish eagle just dove into the water, head straight under, whole body, came out soaking wet, and then flew off behind a tree without anything. I don't know. I think obviously it missed something, but it's just one of those things where you can guarantee something's going to happen the minute. Okay, at least you saw it flying slightly. This is hilarious. I don't know if it just went for a quick swim. Doesn't seem very sensible. It's not warm anymore. I doubt it. I don't think it went for a quick swim. I think it went... Having to do this so carefully. Shush. There we go. A slightly now bedraggled African fish eagle, who apparently, as far as we could tell, plunged itself into the water purely for the purposes of confounding us. That's the only thing I can possibly think of. Obviously it missed a fish. But now I think it's going to sit there and dry off. I don't know if it's going to attempt it again. When last did we follow fish eagles like this in the Mara? Not often. Immediately settling in for some grooming. That is something that birds will never, ever, ever neglect. Or preening would be a better way of saying that. Right, well, since this has all gone so well, I'm going to start this whole process again and move around the fish eagle. Let's go to James, who has a gorgeous scene unfolding in front of him.
She's just started to call, everybody. She went, oh, oh, oh. So I'm sure Tlalamba must be here somewhere. Come on, do it again, my dear. Difficult to tell whether that panting is from eating or whether it is from the heat. Oh, here we go. Full action cat sighting, this. There's a lovely big hole here. Oh, that's wonderful. I'm sure this used to be... Oh, she's calling again. Pretty sure this used to be a termite mound that hyenas would have lived in. Well, I'm very glad she wasn't lying there when we drove past. There's not a chance we would have seen her. Now, this is typical of A, this cub, and B, cubs that are getting older in general. I think Tlalamba has shown a remarkable amount of independence from the word go. She was always difficult to wrangle and make sure that she stayed with her mother. And now she's getting older, pushing 11 months now, of course. She's starting to spend more and more time away from Mum. And we've often sat with Thandi while she's called and called and called and called. And Tlalamba has had none of it. Rebellious little mischievous leopardess. But interesting that she called both sides of the termite mound, indicating that she doesn't really know where she is. I don't think there's a great deal of worry on Thandi's side. And I certainly can't see any sign of the cub. She's looking down there. Oh, she just picked her head up. Now she's calling again. I shall train my binoculars in that direction. Just be able to hear the wind. It's so quiet. You're probably just hearing the wind or hearing the sound of the wind, not her calling. I'm sure she's seen her, you know. The way she perked her head up like that. Oh, she's now looking at me. I'm sort of kneeling up in the vehicle, trying to keep my voice as low as possible. We know that Thandi, the grumpy queen, is not a fan of the loud human voice. One does best to talk in soothing tones around her. Thandi, I'm talking in soothing tones. Yes. Very soothing. Apparently a whole lot of you talking about a fight that happened on the dam cam last night. I'm afraid I have not checked Twitter today at all. I didn't hear anything about that. What? I feel a bit embarrassed now. What fight was that? And a lot of you worry that Tlalamba may have got caught up in it. No, 99% sure that she didn't get caught up with it. I'm also 99% sure that Thandi was nowhere near there. Now I think she's going to have a vomit. And Sky Doogie, yes, I realised Lalumbra's 10 months old. I just said pushing 11 months old because, well, you know, next month she'll be 11 months old. Ooh. Has eaten something. Now she's making a slightly louder call with a bit of a growl. Apparently there was some whooping and roars and shouts, but no actual sight of cats at the dam cam yesterday evening. No, the leopards weren't anywhere near there. They were around here yesterday evening, as far as we're aware. Can't see why they would have gone up to that part of the reserve. Definitely looking for her daughter. We'll just give her a few seconds sitting up there before we think about going round to get a slightly better shot. Definitely a little bit concerned. Not me. Thandi, I mean. Gronick, yes, in theory, lions could hear her call and try and come and kill her, but I think it's highly unlikely that they'd do that. Wouldn't make any sense. There aren't any lions around at the moment. The Nguhuma Pride is on Chitwa. And so, although, yes, technically it would be possible for lions to hear it, because they have excellent ears, I think you'd find that they wouldn't even bother to come and investigate a sound like that in heat like this. Senzo, let's go around the other side. There's no reason for us to stare at a silhou het when we don't have to. We'll just pop around 180 degrees, nice and clear around here, so we won't make too much noise. I think even I would have spotted her from where she is now. This place has been grazed flat by impala during the... What's that? My microphone. Oh dear. There's Kirsten talking. This place has been grazed flat by impalas over the course of the winter. Say my name, that's the kind of question that could get me into all sorts of trouble, and I don't really wish to answer it, but I'll do it anyway. You say, do I think that Thandi is an excellent mother, like her mother Karula was? Well, there's some alarming birds there. There we go, Senzo, was that all right? No, I can't really, I don't want to block her view. Is that okay for now? Just have a look-see for now, if you don't mind. Her record would suggest no, not quite as good as Karula. Of course, a lot of that has to do with luck. So is she just an unlucky mother? Or is she not quite as skilled as her mother? I don't know. I am not going to attempt to answer that question because, of course, making an assertion that she wasn't a good mother, I'd probably get hounded off the Twitterverse. But statistics, whether you believe them or not, would suggest that she wasn't quite as skilled as her mother was, but more skilled than her sister, who very sadly was, well, I think, one of the most tragic leopards I ever met. Raised one youngster to adulthood in her 11 years. Orbs, Thandi is static on a termite mound just off Shibam Junction with Savage's Track. So I would be very interested to know if you would be able to tell me whether or not you think that she's a good mother or not, and whether she's as good as her mother was, or if perhaps she's just unlucky. All right, while we consider these things, let's go back across the Maasai Mara, and I'll try and get hold of Aubrey and help him into the sighting. I'm not sure what Jami has got there, other than fish eaglies. Sorry about that, everybody. The comms are not working from the Maasai Mara at the moment. We'll get them back shortly. I just heard a woodpecker alarming to where, or pretty much in the direction that Thandi's looking. So maybe Tlalamba is there and asserting her independence by not coming when her mother calls her. That is the way of teenagers, of course. Human and cat. I know this isn't the most magical picture we've ever had of Thandi, but I don't want to go forward because that'll block her view. Tim, yes, they would. Hyenas would certainly come and bother the leopards while they're sleeping. Interestingly, though, I've seen Hosanna sleeping very soundly around hyenas, obviously just opening his eyes every so often and looking at them. If there doesn't seem to be food in the offing, and if, say, it's an adult leopard like this who could do some serious damage to a hyena, I think they'll probably leave them alone, you know. Although if they saw her, they'd probably come and have a look and see if she didn't have something for them to steal. But I've definitely seen her or her brother Hosanna very soundly resting, or very unconcernedly resting in the presence of hyenas. There's a fork-tailed drongo sitting above her that sounds like almost as if he's trying to mimic her call for the cub. I'm pretty sure that's not what he's doing. You hear him? Hear him doing that? It really does sound a little bit odd. I'm sure that can't be what it's doing. And off it goes. Oh, very interesting. They're not very good mimics, are the drongos. They do try. They do the pearl-spotted owl all right. Not very well, but they do make an attempt. I heard one trying to... What did Tristan hear one trying to do the other day? It was very funny. They try starlings every so often. Oh, and they try squirrels. They try squirrel alarm calls. That's what he was referring to. They don't do that very well either. Whereas if you hear a bird that really knows how to sing, that really knows how to mimic, it's utterly impressive. The Sabota lark is one. It's got quite a thin voice, but it can do the exact sort of, it doesn't get the timbre right, but or the tone, but it gets the pitch and it gets the rhythm of other birds' calls perfectly. Otherwise, it's very silent, as you can see. Maybe we should do just a little loop around and see if we can't find Tlalamba. Yes, Teresa, leopards absolutely do get hairballs. And they get hairballs because they have to clean the hair off the carcasses that they eat. And I suppose from themselves when they clean themselves, or their daughters, as in Tandi's case. And then they vomit them up. And I think that's probably exactly what was going on there with that sort of retching motion that she was doing. I'm afraid we have lost the Mara for now. They do not have any comms. All right, I think let's go for a little drive around. I'm going to bring Aubrey into the sighting so that he can sort of mark the place, if you like, and then we'll just go and look a little bit further to the south and see if we can't pick up Tlalamba and maybe a carcass. I'm really not sure if there is a carcass around here, but when Aubrey gets here, we'll have a chat to him and find out what he saw this morning. I know that his tracker and he found Tandi earlier today. Alrighty, let's do a little move. I'm just going to quickly talk to him and tell him that I'm going to have a look. He says, okay, that's fine. He has just seen Hosanna as well, typically at the Gallagher Pan, but he's doing even less than Tandi is at the moment. So I think let's see if we can find the princess. She was looking down towards a termite mound that we investigated a little bit earlier. And perchance we'll be lucky. So what do you all think about the skills of Tandi as a mother? And while I ask you that question and you answer it, I'm going to answer Joe's question, who says, what do you feel? What do I feel when a leopard stares at me? Well, if it's Tandi, I feel a sort of chill run through my bones because she's a leopard who is grumpy. She's known to give vehicles the odd rev if you're not careful around her. In Hosanna's case, it doesn't feel like that at all. I think that's mainly psychological on my part, of course, because Hosanna is just as wild as she is, but he's much more good-natured. He seems to enjoy our company far more than Tandi does. I'll just do a little turn around this termite mound here. Well, Mr. Zero, I think you and many others would go along with what you've said here. You said you would consider Tandi to be a very good mother, but one that had bad luck. I'm going to be very brave and disagree with you. They're impala all the way down here, so I don't know where the little cub could be. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to justify it. I'm not just going to say that. There are some impala. Let's just sit here for a second while I justify my statement. I don't see why it should be that all leopards necessarily should be good mothers. I'm not sure why they should all be born with equal skills and be just as good as each other. And it seems to me that every time we see a cat with a cub, we immediately say that she's a good mother. I've never heard anybody in our audience accuse one of our characters of being a bad mother, and that's not a bad thing. I just simply don't believe that it's possible for every creature out here to be a good mother. Yes, there's absolutely a huge amount of bad luck. But Tundi, in her 10 years, almost 11, I think it was 11 years, didn't manage to raise one. Now, whether she was willfully bad, whether she was just unskilled, or, as I think was the case, was a physiological anomaly, well, I think, you know, whatever the reason was, I don't think we can call her a good mother. And what Tundi used to do, I think, was come into estrus very soon, normally when her cubs were about 6 months old. And then she would fall pregnant and by default subject her cubs to a level of neglect that made it very difficult for them to survive. And, well, you know, you may or may not want to agree with me, but I don't feel like we can just say all the females that have cubs out here are good mothers. We did the same thing with Naratoy the cheetah, who lost her 5 cubs in the Maasai Mara, and she lost 5 cubs. Can we say she's a good mother? Well, I don't think so just yet. Maybe she is. Maybe there is just bad luck, but let's let the jury make its decision. Okay, while I've no doubt caused a sort of storm of resentment to come flying my way through the Twitterverse, let's go back to Brent Leo Smith with a very, very fast antelope. This time it is the fastest in the world.
Well, welcome back to the Mara. There's that Thompson's gazelle who's walking past the edge of the lines, snorting away at him. A very high-pitched, funny little snort that Tommies have. We've been joined by a third lioness. As I say, I'm still trying to figure out exactly which pride this is. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think it's the sausages. One female looks too young. So it could be a portion of the Olololo pride. I don't think it's Owinos either, though. I'm guessing at the moment. So funny. I don't know. The wind might be stopping you hearing that Thompson said. Here's a little Tommy keeping a close eye on the lions. You can see it as he snorts alarm at them. Remember, this is 100% live. You can send questions through to me using the hashtag #SafariLive. So it sounds like Clem says they are Olololos. So that's interesting because the sausages were seen close to here yesterday. They're very interesting, the line dynamics at the moment, the constant flux, really keeping us on our toes. Oh, what's going on right now? Oh, it's just baby wildebeest playing. Okay. I thought there might be a hyena amongst them. See down there, arch amongst the trees there. A little bit to the left, I think. Keep going. Those 2 trees there. No, just wildebeest playing, and Ellie's amongst the herds. Little wildebeest having fun. Now we're very close to the happy zebra hyena den as well. Lots and lots of food about. But the short grasses do do make it a little bit more difficult. I think as we get a little bit closer to night time, these lions might have a little bit more success. Yeah, something has upset the lapwings. Well, as I say, I think we're in it to win it here. We're going to spend the rest of our evening here with these lions, which are probably Olololo Pride. And while we do that, let's send you to Jamie to see what she's up to.
I'm going to go back to Waffles' den in a little bit, but first, our last few glimpses of the Topi, because we're not going to, obviously once it gets dark, we're not going to spend the rest of our time or the rest of the evening with them. And would be far too distracting for tiny little ones, even with using infrared light. This is their first 24 hours in the world. It seems a little bit unfair for them to have us moving around them, especially in hyena territory. There we go, that's another one. That's not Warren. That's another little baby Topi, who looks slightly less wobbly than Warren did, and in fact seems a little bit older, if I'm not mistaken. There's a second one as well, and it really is the most stunning evening. Now, these are the Topi that I was trying to follow this morning and couldn't, and I see that there are still several. Kirsty has named this one Paul. We are going to have a very tough time if we name every single individual Topi calf. I mean, I'm all for it, but we're going to have severe difficulty keeping track of them. So these are the Topi I was looking for, and some of them are on the point of dropping their calves as well. So I've seen some really rotund females, the largest of which is actually in front of me. She's currently grazing off to the side, and we won't be able to see her. That is not her. There we go. That is her. You can really see how her belly has... Oh, did you see that? Mm-hmm. Cool. It kicked. It kicked hard. Shame, poor mum. Can I have a football star? That did actually look really quite sore. I'm sure pregnant women around the world, or women who have been pregnant recently, winced in sympathy with that particular kick. I know it's a joyous thing. Oh, and she's a unicorn. Awesome. A pregnant unicorn. With her funny goat eye. Let me just move out of the way of this gentleman who appears to be unaware that we are looking at the Topi. Or perhaps very aware that we're looking at the Topi. Fortunately, we are no longer as muddy as we were. So, what should we talk about while we wait? No, we'll carry on talking about her in a little bit. But what I'm going to do is every morning, I think... Every morning I'm going to come here, and I am going to see whether or not they give birth. I think it's the best time. Sorry, he's desperate to have a conversation with us. Morning's always the best time for antelope births. And this is what we did years ago when I saw my very first live wildebeest birth. Possibly my one and only wildebeest birth. I say that it was my first one as if I went on to witness many. That was not the case. Oh, she's waddling. Yes, Kirsty was the director, but we actually spent probably nigh on 9 hours with that wildebeest herd before we were finally fortunate enough to witness that. Kirsty just said it's giving birth. I have been known in the past to raise false alarm with pregnant animals when it turned out that all they wanted to do was defecate in peace. I have almost gone live on Facebook with a pregnant giraffe that turned out she was just a little bit constipated, as happens So, there's that. She is enormous. That baby's going to come out tonight. I wish we could stick with her, but I don't think it would be terribly fair. They can have enough challenges today. Oh, she's bulging. We found our pregnant Topi, and you know what? We might even find her again, because she likes this area. They all do. This is their favorite spot, and she's very easily identifiable. So if we come out tomorrow and we look for the unicorn Topi, and whoever this chap is who keeps standing in front of our unicorn Topi, he seems to want to be included as well. He's feeling horribly left out. Sorry, boy. I think it's a boy. Looks like a boy. That could be a belly button, but I'm pretty sure it's a boy. Oh, might be a young female. Oh, no, I'm wrong. It is a female. I never realized how Topi waddle when they defecate and walk at the same time. That was kind of funny. Hey guys, how you doing? Good, good.
Finally, I got you.
Oh, good.
We have been watching wildlife on Nat Geo from I don't know how many years.
That's awesome.
And
That's
you guys have
fantastic.
kept us busy, completely busy.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You can actually watch us live every day, twice a day on YouTube.
Is it?
Yeah, which is exactly what we're doing right now.
Oh, this
Are
is
you, James?
nice.
Yes, it is.
And if I have to upload a video on Nat Geo, how do I do it?
Give me 1 second. All right, we're going to send you across over to Brent and finish chatting to this lovely gentleman. We'll be back with you shortly.
Well, the line's on the move, so I'm just trying to get up ahead of them now. It looks like they might head off into the long grass to hunt. I can't see if there's any wildebeest or zebra there. But there could be more lions. So I say we're quite close to Happy Zebra's hyena den as well. Okay, hold on. I think they're going to go up, up, and away. Okay, well, I'll get ourselves into a good position. Let's send you across to James and Tundi, who looks like she's alert.
Well, she's alert, but we still don't have any idea if she's seen her daughter. We had a good look-see around, didn't find anything, and in fact there was a herd of impala coming this way, and I wonder if that's not what she's looking towards. Could easily be the oblivious herd coming towards her from the other side of the road. Apparently, in my fearful attempt to have the debate, some might say very brave attempt, some might say very stupid attempt to have the debate about whether or good mothers and bad mothers, apparently I said I didn't think Tundi was a good mother. No, I think Tundi's a just fine mother. I said I didn't think she was maybe quite as good as Karula, because that's what the statistics say. It might be that she just hasn't had good luck. She's certainly been exceptional with Tamba and with little Tlalamba. I don't think Tlalamba's been very easy at all. I always got the impression that Tamba, who was her cub before this, she lost one cub from that litter. We're not sure how, but I always thought little Tamba, it looked like he was much more a mummy's boy to start with before he went independent, of his own accord. Whereas Tlalamba has never been a mummy's girl at all, always been very independent. She's calling again. I say, otherwise things are totally silent here. There isn't a bird uttering a chirrup. But for that drongo who was trying to imitate the leopard call, perhaps. I'll Thali do well to just sit on that very termite mound and say nothing for the next 10 minutes or so, because this herd of impala, like I say, is wandering into the sort of ridge crest area, which I said to you looked like it had been grazed flat during the winter. And it's obviously a source of fairly good nutrition around here. To be spending a bit of time with a leopard like this rather than driving around too much. Pisces, Bobby, do you mean comparatively? I mean, are you asking if sort of the size of the cub matters? In other words, if Tumba was a bigger leopard, would he have a greater chance of surviving than a smaller cub of the same age? If that is the question, yes, I think it probably does make a difference. Oh, she's moving. Right, here we go. Thank you, Senzel. Size out here is never a bad thing. It is never a disadvantage to be big. Alrighty, let's just let her move a bit. She's going to intercept that impala herd. Let's just watch her briefly. We'll let the other vehicle move first. I don't think she's seen the impala yet. There's no ways they've seen her. If we can, it's best just to let one vehicle move at a time. See where she goes. I shall be most amazed if there's actually just a kill right underneath that tree there. I don't think I looked. I think that's the one tree we didn't look underneath, actually. That's fascinating. I wonder if there isn't a piece of meat stashed under there. That'll be hilarious. I'm going to feel a deep sense of shame. No, she's come out. It's okay. Still might be a kill there. All right, Brenti's lions seem to be on the hunt, so let's go back across to them up in the Maasai Mara, and I'll hopefully catch up with Kalamba very soon indeed.
There we go. Well, one of the lionesses is using the drain next to the road to sneak up on an unsuspecting wildebeest up ahead. She's not too far off now. You can see the one very close to the road. Just going to move forward slightly. Just want to make sure we're in the best possible spot. See, this is getting very, very exciting now. They all look relatively hungry. So I'm just going to keep quiet now, and we're going to have our friends on social media join us. Welcome live to the Maasai Mara in Kenya. We have a lioness stalking a wildebeest. She's getting quite close now. She's probably about 30 or 40 meters away from the closest wildebeest. There we go, you can see them. Oh, there's another lion that's popped up right next to us. But let's stick with her. She's getting very, very close. You can see how her body language is changing. She's going to start moving slower now. Look at that, she's creeping. Now remember, this is all 100% live. Look at her, she's getting herself into position. The second lioness has just moved just in front of us. It's doing the same thing. Oh, hello. Sure. that lion was close enough for me to touch. This lioness, she can't. She's right there. You can just see her head. She came past and almost touched my door, right next to me. Wow, exciting! I do love lions. Hello, silly cat. We spend a lot of times with these prides, and they definitely seem to be more relaxed around our filming vehicles. Seem to be more relaxed around our filming vehicles because we can often spend 10, 12 hours a time on camera. Isn't this exciting? Now, they've just taken a little break. She's probably just waiting and watching. There's also some elephants there, and elephants don't like lions. They might chase her. There we go. Our friend who was sneaking right next to the car has decided to move on. But this second lioness that's walking out in the open she might get spotted. Holly says, "This is awesome." Indeed it is, Holly. So what are you doing? You have definitely been spotted now, but the lead lioness, the one that's closest to the wildebeest, has not been spotted yet. And the wildebeest seems to be moving away from her slightly, almost like second nature. Instinct told them that there was danger nearby. She's going to go. I think she might have seen a wounded wildebeest, or she's testing for an injury. Sometimes during the migration, they will do that because there's just so much around that there might just be one who's got a little limp or is just not quite as fit or fast, or could be old, or she could just be playing. I've seen lions play when they do this as well, but they're playing, but she's just checking that there isn't one that's got an injury. They're not starving, but they are definitely hungry. But what are you doing, you silly cat? Let's move forward. Let's get a bit closer. Now, I'm wondering if these lions are part of a much bigger pride, where the rest of the pride is. There you go. So she's still walking up. I'm trying to see if there are any juvenile. There is one juvenile wildebeest right in front of her. But she's sort of just testing, not really hunting. As I say, at the slightest hint of a bit of weakness, she would take off. Hi, Herman. Herman says, doesn't the truck's noise bother them? Not really, Herman. They're habituated to the sound of the safari vehicles. Now watch this. They're all going to run past her. Now she's going to just watch. You never know. She might suddenly see something that catches her interest. The other ones that are behind me, you might hear just now, are contact calling. So trying to find the rest of the pride. You can hear that noise. Ooh. Jess is wondering, will the lead lion be aware of the other lions giving the hunt away? Jess, aware that they've been located, not that it was so much the other lion that gave it away. Oh, here we go. The next string of wildebeest is about to run past her. And when they run like this, this is when she'll be looking for the weakness. You can see she's focusing to the right. That's where they... Oh, it's stopped now. Hi, Graham. There we go. See, she just pushed them a little bit, got them to run, and she's looking for any sign of weakness. Now, I'm trying to see that one. She's seen something, obviously, that's got piqued her interest. She's still going in. Maybe she saw a little bit of a weakness there. Sorry, Graham. Yes, we have filmed live hunts before, Graham. You can see how many wildebeest and zebra are scattered through the plains behind. She's just searching. And one little mistake, a wildebeest trips or zebra falls into a hole. And you can see that the antelope know that they can run faster than her for longer periods. So she's got to be quite close to really actually get a chance. And while she's busy chasing all the wildebeest and zebra behind us, but we've got the lions next to us just calling softly. Oh, Omar is wondering, are the rest of the pride hiding in ambush? Probably not. I think what happens during the migration, because there's so much food, often they'll have multiple kills and they'll get split up over the night, and then they'll just sort of be lazy and flop down where they are during the day. And now, as we get closer to darkness, they'll start calling and trying to reconnect. Ooh, come back. Where are you? See, she looks like she's listening to the calls. The second one's going to go join her, in fact. So one's gone off in the opposite direction now. This female has been right next to us calling. Is going to go join. Okay, so I don't think they're going to catch anything just now, but remember to keep an eye out, because we could go live at any time. So I'm going to keep following these lions, and hopefully we will see you a little later when they decide to hunt again. Okay, I'm going to try and get ourselves into a good position, closer to where they are. While we do that, let's send you back to James and Tandy.
Well, Tandy is still looking for Tlalamba, and we're reticent to go in after her because this is exactly where we went looking, and chances are that if this is where she was left, that she may have been just hiding from the vehicle when we went in there. Impala have been all over this area the whole afternoon. So I'm really a bit confused as to why she'd be here if Tlalamba wasn't here, but why Tlalamba would have been there, given that how Tlalamba could have been there, given the number of impala that have been around here. Tlalamba could easily have been, gone off to have a drink of her own. But there's no indication as to why she'd be here waiting. Been calling a little bit, but not much. Just kind of looking and smelling. Now we've got some movement coming back up this way. expecting there to be a little bit more sound in the bush out here. Once the sun starts to set properly, something was calling over to the right-hand side there. Let me just... No, wait here. I thought we might move a little bit, but I don't think we will. Just see what she does. Right, now she's phlegm and grimacing. That's interesting. I suspect she can smell Tlalamba's urine. Unless there's been a male around here. It's probably one of the, I'm not sure, well, one of the most oft talked about and possibly least understood physiological processes that happens in the bodies of animals that have the vomeronasal or Jacobson's organ. That's the organ that's being used when she grimaces like that, used to interpret all sorts of sounds, and it's often interpreted purely as a sort of check for, there she's calling again, a check for mating readiness, but it isn't. It interprets all sorts of different signals and signs. She's lying down. I'm pretty sure Tlalamba must have gone to the loo there. I personally don't think that there's any danger that Tlalamba's been harmed. I think they have had a kill in this area for the last 2 or 3 days. Yeah, Judy, I don't think we should be nervous, no. I think they've had a kill here for the last 2 or 3 days. As I say, 10-month-old Tlalamba is having, or displaying quite a lot more independence. And we've often seen her call and call and call and call without the cub taking any notice whatsoever. I don't think that's any more of, I don't think there's anything more to this than that. We'll try and get in there. I'm just going to wait for Aubrey to move first, and then we'll have a go. Now, I'm very pleased she wasn't lying there, because I'm not sure that we would have managed to spot her in that kind of grass driving past. Okay, let's pop in. So like I say, the impala were all over here, and they've wandered, I think, probably up onto the clearings there, and then maybe they'll go down and drink something. Didn't make too much noise. Nice and quiet. Sinzel. How's that? No good? We'll go a little bit further. There you go. There's a little drainage ditch here that leads into Treehouse Dam. Maybe she just crossed over that. Linda, how long? I think about 72 hours, maybe? 3 days? I can't remember. I'm going to say about 3 days. Certainly not much longer than that. Now, I said that I think they'd been on a kill for the last 2 or 3 days. She doesn't look very full, so I don't think whatever it was they were eating is not very big, or wasn't very big. And the reason I say that I think they've been on a kill here is that we've had tracks going around here for the last 2 days. All right, let's go back to the migration. The herds teeming across the plains with Brent Leo Smith and apparently a lion about to try and catch one of them.
Well, we're still with those two lionesses. They've joined up and they are still heading towards the herds. You can hear all the snorting from the wildebeest. Zebra snorting as well. Lapwings complaining. So I think they're actually using this tactic. They're just walking into masses of animals looking for a bit of weakness. At the moment, they haven't found any. A chorus of snorts. And they've laid down now. I think they're going to take a little break before they try again. Oh, so tiring being snorted at. And the direction she's looking at the moment, there's some really big groups and a little bit more cover. There's some little caper bushes. So there we go. I think that's going to be their most likely area of success. But while we wait it out a bit longer, let's send you back to Jamie, who's now with the North Clan.
We're also going to be doing some waiting it out this evening because I have a very sneaky suspicion that Waffles has moved her cubs, and I'm hoping either to this, I guess I'd call it a den site, I don't really know yet if I would confirm that it's a den site, or that our little sloth bear will actually take us to her. So I noticed earlier on when Manu and myself came to the den site before the drive started that an elephant had been right over the top and had actually pulled out a whole load of cover around the entrances to the den, or the various entrances to the den. And I don't know whether or not Waffles might actually have had enough of elephants basically standing on her. I wonder if she hasn't moved. This looks like it might be a den site. It does to me. And the bit, a little bit to the right of Sloth Bear, to me looks like it's been freshly dug would be the wrong word, but freshly gardened. Let's put it that way, landscaped. So now we have to just guess where Waffles is. Is she here? Because she could easily be. You've all seen how she can disappear into an entrance hole and vanish completely. Perhaps she's decided she wants a den site with more cubs. Oh, more cubs. More cover. I'm sure 2 is plenty. I'm sure she doesn't want more cubs. Now, little Sloth Bear, poor thing, has found himself in a somewhat invidious situation. He is too young to be graduating from the den site himself. But all of his buddies, Paisley, Lobster, Chow, even BFG and SEO, are at the point where they are essentially old enough to graduate. Even his best friend Tip, now that she's recovered from her limp, should be old enough to have graduated. Or at the very least are spending most of their time away from the communal den. Now, obviously we don't make that call. That will be the researchers' call. The more time they spend with the cubs, seeing them away from the den. It's actually a scientific process to determine whether or not they've left the den site and have graduated. That's literally the term for it. Oh, what's up, my little boy? What's coming? What did you hear? Okay. Beautiful. Thank you very much. We didn't just spend the last 5 minutes trying to get a good view of your face. No, not at all. So little Slob is not ready to graduate, but now what? Because the matriarch has a tiny cub, because he'll just get a hiding if he does. He will eventually start playing with them, but for now they're too small. Poor little Slobber. That was very, very inconvenient of you, mister. And what we're going to do is he's going to wait for Mum, and then chances are he could lead us to Waffles' den, due to that sheer, essentially confusion.
She's such a dainty cat, this, until you see her dragging an impala up a tree or leaping on the back of a nyala. You almost can't believe that something as elegant as that could be capable of such violence. But she is a potent wilderness weapon, if you like. Sorry about that. No idea what happened. Nobody's got any idea what happened. It's all just a very confusing mess of technological glitches, and we're very sorry for them, even though they weren't our fault. But we're still sorry. We still have no Tlalamba. We do have Tundi now moving, though, down into an area we couldn't get the vehicle into earlier on. But of course, we'll try now. You want us to go this way, do you, Senzo? Okay, right. Senzo says go this way. Who am I to disagree? Ah, there she is. She hasn't... Oh, I see. You wanted to get the sun behind her. Shall I go back a bit then? In, straight there. Okay, right. Senzo was trying to create some art for us, everybody. Fortunately, Wendy is doing her best to ruin that art for us. Yes? More? More? Yes? Okay. Hold on, everybody. This is the art of Esimkize. Oh, look at what he's achieved, everyone. You might just be able to see that there's a leopard there, standing in the setting sun. That's gorgeous. That's very pretty, Senzo. I'm most impressed. We'll We'll now have to wait here, of course, till the sun goes down. Now, we checked all around here, like I said earlier on. No luck. And clearly Tundi is experiencing rather the same. Lots of cameras flashing off at her from the other side, but that's okay. And she's listening quite carefully there, and obviously looking. And I must apologize for the technical glitches. They are really beyond our control. Sometimes it's just internet service providers. Sometimes it's just unidentified gremlins. I really don't think any of you need to be worried about Tlalamba. It really isn't unusual for this to happen. We've seen it many times. Alrighty, Brenty is back. He's got some picture, he's got some comms. So let's go back across to Brent as the sun slowly sinks here on South Africa.
Well, we're still with our girls, and they are looking like they might get moving again. As you can see, not completely empty. Looks like she's going to go join the other one. Let's get a bit closer before she gets there. Or not. She's going to come sit on the termite mound. Oh. Well, we've got a beautiful view of lions to the right, and a stunning Mara evening sunset to the left, filled with canoes. Magical, absolutely magical. So we're definitely in the right spot at the moment. They haven't moved too far from where we found them. The lions, that is. We're back down to 2. I can hear the third lioness somewhere over there, but we can't see her. Heather is wondering, how loud does it get when the herds are moving through? Very loud. Even when they're not moving, Heather, you just, that constant, there's so many different noises. Plus you add the zebras in. But when they do run properly, and I mean big numbers run, it's sort of like a roar, like a flooding river. Beautiful. Love it when the light catches their eyes. Okay, now what? What have you spotted? I don't see anything there. We did hear some other roars from that area. Could be the rest. Wait, what's that there? Where did I put my binoculars? So, but just to the left of these bushes, so a bit more left. Keep going a little bit left of that mound. I thought it's just, what is it, vultures on the ground. Yeah, vultures on the ground. No, they were there earlier, so I don't think there's much in form of meat there, because the vultures weren't feeding, they were just sitting around. Okay, well, now we've got decisions to make, so I'm going to try to decide, are we going to follow her or are we going to stick with the lioness? Oh, who's next to us? While we do that, let's send you back to the North Clan.
We've also got decisions to make because Manu, with his phenomenally sharp eyes and camera technique, has spotted other hyenas. But, well, I say other hyenas, one other hyena. I'm trying to decide what to do. My gut feel is that sitting with Sloth Bear is the best way to find Waffles because he's going to go searching for company. He is not used to this lonely existence. He was the youngest of, what was it? It was 10. There was 10 of those little bundles running around the den not so long ago. He always had company. Now, all of a sudden, the big cubs get to go and play with Mum and follow her around, and he doesn't really get to do that. Not quite ready, not quite there. Not quite brave enough. Nor should he be, he's not ready. Farah, you want to know how we avoid driving over den sites? The trick is to look at where a den site might be situated. So, I mean, you can really quite clearly see there is a change of vegetation. So if I were driving off-road, let's say I didn't know this area at all, and I were driving off-road, I would be avoiding all of the patches where there is short green grass and termite mounds, essentially. And that would, you just don't drive over a termite mound. You just don't, because you just don't know what's on the other side of it. Obviously, we make certain exceptions to that. We can't give you a blanket rule. But you can see, if I were to drive now, if I were driving off-road without knowing where I was going to go, I would be picking the places where I can see is safe to drive. And that's if I'm driving off-road. Obviously, there are no dens on roads, although Waffles' was pretty close. So if I were to drive now off-road, and there's a road right there, so I'm not going to do that, but I'd just go straight, and I'd dodge the paths where there are crotons or little perennial plants or something like that, because what that means essentially is that something's been digging. Something has brought good quality soil up from below the surface of the soil, from greater depths, and as a result there are all sorts of plants growing on top of it that are a very clear indication that you shouldn't really drive there. Oh, that's quite pretty. Also, don't want to leave Waffles' old den in case I'm wrong about her moving and I miss something. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I can't stand the thought of losing her and not seeing her again before, or at least seeing her cubs again, before I leave. We're going to do some waiting, watching patiently, and I think that's what we're going to decide to do. Someone else who's sitting, watching, waiting patiently is Tundi.
Apparently the cub's coming. Aubrey's seen it. I'm just going to move a little bit. Aubrey reckons that the cub's just over here. She doesn't know, but Aubrey's seen it. I haven't seen it either. We're not going to go and look for her. We're just going to wait here. Is that all right, Sins? Is that fine? Forward. Michelle, you say Yahoo. Well, Yahoo indeed. See if she calls. I mean the little one. She's looking in the right direction now. I say Aubrey seen it. He was pointing towards it. Pointing towards another termite mound. Let me just train me binoculars there. She's looking precisely where Aubrey was pointing. I don't think she's seen her yet. Have you got her? Right, well, Senzo can see the movement the other side. frustrating for poor Tundi. The daughter won't reply. If I get a decent view of the daughter, I will tell you, and we'll swing the camera around to her. It's always so lovely to watch her reuniting, isn't it? That's it. She always looks a little bit like she's getting desperate at this stage. Of course, these cats can't make facial expressions in the same way that we can, so, well, while the ears are a good indicator of mood, I suppose the longer this goes on, the more we feel like she must be getting desperate. I hope I haven't given everyone false hope, but Aubrey was pointing into the bush behind his car. Sindor, you said you saw some movement there. Eh? You can't take the eye out of the camera, yes, fair enough, I understand. Now there is a great bated breath all over the interweb as we wait to see if little Kalamba does make it out of the bushes here. She's so naughty. Such a naughty kitty. Well, we aren't going anywhere. We're going to wait right here and see what happens. I'm trying to think. Oh, did I see some? I may have seen some movement. Hang on. I can hear something moving. And you can all hear Tundi calling now. But I thought I heard the grass shuffling. I think she would have looked towards it if that was true. Everyone on the other vehicle being extremely polite, not making any noise at all. Brent, Lyle, Smith, I think they do feel frustration. I'm not sure how well they express it. I suppose it would look very much like anger. If you were a leopard and you were frustrated, you'd had a hot day, you hadn't had a meal, there wasn't any nice water to drink, and you were looking for your cub and she wouldn't come anywhere near you, I think it would be expressed in much the same way as anger was, with a sort of backward-facing ears. But these cats are immensely patient. They couldn't eat if they weren't immensely patient. And so, while this, for a human being, would be deeply irritating, I'm not so sure that it is for her. Come on, Kalamba, this is not nice to your mum. I remember once I got thrashed for hiding from my mother in the garden. Everyone was looking for me, and I saw them all coming, and then I hid in a bush, and then I hid under a table. And I was eventually found under the kitchen table. I must have been about 4. And I think I only ever received one good thrashing at home on my bottom. It was that day. And I never hit again. Perhaps Kalamba needs a small paddy whack. No sound, just the leopard calling. That's all there is. Miss Anno, leopard mums these days discipline their cubs by taking away their iPads and making sure that they can't access social media sites that they would normally. They curtail their use of Wi-Fi and data, and they take away pocket money. That's generally the methods. I think that's pretty much the human methods as well. That's obviously nonsense. I don't think there is much discipline. There is an instinctual response to mother from the cub, and if she gets angry, which she does quite often, she'll just give it a slap or growl at it, and then it won't do what it's doing. And definitely some cubs are naughtier than others. Some cubs are more confiding with their mothers than others. But I don't think there's ever a conscious effort to discipline them. But it's a very interesting question because, of course, they must learn certain behaviors. They can't just behave as they're instinctually bound to, because different instinctual behaviors must elicit different responses from their mothers. So, for example, in a litter of two, both with different personalities, I'm sure their personalities must sort of be brought into line while they're with their mothers, because their mothers would behave to certain behaviors in predictable fashion, I would imagine. A lot of people will tell you that animals are unpredictable. That is not the case, I don't believe. I believe that 90% of the time, if you understand their perspective, which is generally look after kids, look after my food, don't get in my way, and don't corner me, they're pretty predictable. And so I think the same must go for their parenting. I find this very unsettling though. I'm sure a lot of you find it the same, where even though we're 99% sure that the cub is safe, here we sit thinking, oh, come on, just come out so we can see you and make sure that you're all right. There's something about watching a mother looking for her youngster that is very deeply unsettling to me, and I think many humans. It's one of the greatest terrors of parenthood, of course, is losing your child. And I suppose I'm anthropomorphizing slightly, but well, we're all mammals, aren't we? Come on, little one. Just getting a little bit louder now. Looking to where we thought we saw something. Still looking with my binoculars. Haven't seen any movement. Sensor says he did see some movement, but he's not gonna. You want to look? Next to the green tree in front, eh? Jason, you say you're so anxious for her. Yeah, well, I'm becoming more and more anxious, even though I'm 99% sure the baby's absolutely fine. I'm interested that the little one wouldn't call back. It's almost like she wants to move off and go looking, but she doesn't know which direction to go. It's so naughty. No spots in the grass, nothing in a tree. I heard one woodpecker calling miles away, but otherwise it is dead silent here. At least it is cooling down slightly. And as it gets darker, maybe that'll give Columbra a little more inspiration to move. I wonder if she can hear her mother, if she's just purposely ignoring it, or if she just has gone to sleep and isn't really worrying. Well, this is obviously where she was found this morning. This was the first termite mound we checked earlier today. Now maybe she's heard something. No. Still nothing. can't ask Aubrey, he's too far away for me to shout across. So we're just going to have to wait in suspense. Look down the other way, see if I can see anything there. No, nothing at all. Make a big noise, Tandy, come on. Shout. Say, come here now. Get here. Senzo, I cannot see anything where you were looking. I think maybe it was a waving piece of grass. I mean, to me that looks like quite a worried face, but I think that's a projection. Kirsten agrees. I don't know what she agrees with, but whether it's a projection or a worried face. What was it, Kirsten? No, the face. She thinks the face is worried. Lisa, you say you've got butterflies in her stomach. Now this, I feel, is a positive move. Come on, go and look. That's it. Standing on the mound for the rest of the evenings to drive me scatty. But like I say, these cats are patient. She knows best, of course, both how to hunt and to look for her youngster. Apparently you're getting some noise on the vehicle. That's just Senzo setting up the FLIR thermal camera. Which is going to be not particularly useful because everything around the cat is about as hot as she is, if not more so. The termite mound is hotter than her. Come on, little one. Now, I have sat with a little one in a vehicle on her own before, and she's been absolutely fine, so I don't think it's because of us that she isn't approaching. Right, there's a bit of movement now. We might have to move. Just wait and see what Aubrey does. I think I'll move anyway. She's walking down towards where Aubrey said she thought the cub was. He thought the cub was. Let's just wait here. No, she stopped. Did you see the little one? No. They thought it was. It was a slender mongoose, apparently. Okay. They don't have spots, you know? Okay, let's go across to Jamie now. We're not going anywhere from here. Apparently Sloth Bear is doing something called making a plan. I'm not sure what that is.
Don't worry, we will rush you back to James if anything changes. Your timing was impeccable, though, as Sloth Bear has just vomited. He now appears to be debating whether or not it's worth re-ingesting or perhaps rolling in. Oh, yuck, was that yuck? Was that yucky? Not very nice, huh? Gross. Oh, say what you will about hyenas. They're wonderful and they're very intelligent, but they can also be somewhat disgusting in our human eyes. Oh, we're going to puke again, no? What is that? What did you eat? No wonder you just vomited it up. That does not look like something you want to digest at all. Actually looks like a piece of bone, perhaps. You're not quite sure what to do with it. I want it, but also it makes me sick. But I want it. Do I want it? Do I want it? What? You're just picking out the good bits of vomit. The bits that you really want. You don't want to lose those bits. That would be a terrible waste. So we're waiting in our own way for a reunion. Either for Sour to come back here, Sour of course being Sloth Bear's mother, or for Waffles to come. There we go, is that nice? What you don't re-ingest, you roll in. Oh, there we go, that's the spot. Make sure you get it all over your shoulder blades. Gotta be as stinky as possible. Yep, there we go, that's the back of the neck. Was that nice, Sloth Bear? Her face so innocent, yet rolling in vomit. Hyena cubs love a good vomit. One of their favourite things. Even when it happens to them, they still don't mind. Was there still more to salvage? Surely not. No, surely we're still at the rolling phase now. No, we're going to try and salvage something there. It's like a piece of bone that he swallowed and didn't... It was a little bit too big for him to digest. No, you can't see it at the moment, but he yawned a moment ago. And he's still got baby teeth. There you can actually sort of see. He still hasn't grown in his permanent set of teeth yet. They're tiny still. So that's why, or not why, but one of the things about hyena cubs is they're dependent on their mothers for quite an extended period of time due to the fact that their jaw muscles don't develop until they're about 2 years old. So they don't get to that bone-crushing potential straight away. Look, he could still probably take my finger off if I were to dangle it over the side and he were feeling so inclined, something I certainly am not going to chance. What's coming? What did you hear? His hearing is so infinitely much more developed than mine. I'm going to keep sitting and I'm going to keep waiting to see who comes to visit. Let's go to Brent.
Welcome back. So the lions are still on the move after the wildebeest, but there's some up ahead here that I think that's what she's going for at the moment. She's just parallel to us. It is starting to get quite dark, so it is a little bit better for the lions now. I've lost sight of the second lioness, but I think she's just behind. She's probably got another 80 meters or so to go. Arch, you happy or I think it's going to be better in colour for now. What do you think, Arch? Okay, let's just wait a little bit. Okay, I just want to get further forward slightly. Get us in the right spot. Okay, I'm going to keep quiet so our friends on social media can join us as well for this lion hunt. Okay, she's starting to jog. Welcome. We are back live in the Mara. This lioness is almost on top of some wildebeest now. There, you got it, Arch. Opposite me. There we go. There she is. You can see how she's using that little bank. There she's going. She's going. I think she's going to miss. Is she going to miss? She's going to miss. Oh dear, lion. You should have got a little bit closer before you decided to charge. Whoops-a-daisies. Unlucky, but now she might just walk towards the big group of wildebeest, see if there's anyone who's a bit weak or has an injury or is old. That was very close though. Now the herds are streaming away from her. And you should start seeing some of them shortly. They all managed to get away. Miss Anna says, wow, crazy speed. Well, let's get a little bit closer. Now that the hunt has failed, my name is Brent Leo Smith. I have Archie on camera with me. And we've been following these lions for about 4 hours, 5 hours now today. And they haven't managed to catch anything yet. One must remember that lions normally only have a success rate of around 15%, so only about 1.5 times out of 10, mud, that they chase something, do they catch it. I've lost sight of her now. It's getting quite dark, but I think she's around here somewhere. Bumpity bump, some holes. Jessie says such powerful animals. Indeed they are, Jessie. She just was a little bit too far away when she decided to go. Oh, she's going the other way. Okay, let me get back on the road. That's why I can't find her, because she's changed her direction. There's some big rocks around here that I don't want to hit. So you'll notice we are in infrared light. That means we don't put spotlights on and stuff, and we don't affect the hunt either in the lion's favor or in the wildebeest's favor. Right, let's try and get a quick view of her. And she's heading back to join the rest of the pride, or at least one of the other lionesses. Let's have a quick look. There she is. Ben, yes, this is 100% live, and I'm not sure if this is the lioness we saw attempt or it's a different lioness, but there we go. There she is, sitting in the road. Oh, she's behind us. Ah, she's coming back. There we go. There she is. Okay. So, well, you never know when we might go live again, so keep a look for the when we go live. Who knows, maybe these lions will catch some dinner just now. Okay, well, I'm going to keep following these lions for a little bit longer, but let's go back to James to see what's happening with Thandi and Tlalamba.
She's still looking. We've gone to infrared now. You can see. We've also got the FLIR thermal camera out, and so if we do get into a position where it's useful to us, we can shine it towards where she's walking through some thick bush, and maybe we'll see the little one. Anyway, now she's gone behind some bush and I cannot see at all where she is. And you'll still see her, Senzo. Might have to just flick a spotlight a little bit so that I can see where we're going. This is a nasty block full of trees. So I'm not going to go blasting in straight after her. We'll try and get around her. Gosh. She's been walking around and around in circles. You got her now? Where is she? On the road. She's gone straight onto the road in front of us. Well spotted, Senzo. Your eyes have been the saviour of this game drive. Yeah. Our beard, I think they do actually respond slower as they get older until they don't respond at all anymore. She's just gone behind this termite mound, I think. There she is, on the termite mound. Sorry, my dear, I didn't mean to give you a fright. Has that parked that stick right in your waist, Denzel? Yes, it has. Oh, she's coming, never mind. Now she's on a road, obviously. She's radiating heat. Look at the road below her. See how the road below her, if we go to the FLIR camera, the road below her is pink. And it moves and becomes more and more pink as she walks, as she heats it up. That's how much heat she's reflecting. It's really amazing. She's smelling. I think she picked up that one sign of Tlalamba. Now, of course, she's leaving a sign of herself so that Tlalamba could come and find her. She's going to become increasingly unimpressed, I think. I feel like her movements are becoming less and less relaxed. Having a nice scratch there. Looks like it might be quite nice. If only she knew that if she came over here, I would give her a very nice scratch. Then we could look together, you know. Could help her. Yes, Mr. Khalid, her eyes are very hot. It's quite interesting that the nose is cold, obviously, and the eyes are hot. And I suppose you'd expect the nose to be cold because it is moist. And so any moving air on it will make it cold. And the eyes, I guess, are radiators of heat. All right, let's go back to the infrared picture now, maybe. She's not calling anymore. She is looking in the same direction again and again. There you can see her eyes reflecting the infrared light. She thinks she may have seen something behind us. Yes, she is. Kirsten just pointed out that she seems to be drooling. Yeah, she does. Yep, there's a little bit of drool there. I'm just being very quiet because it seems to me that she's picking up something. She's picking up sounds or something like that. She's looking in the direction that she's just come from. This is getting painful, isn't it? She's definitely been drooling. You can see she's spread it all the way down her neck there and the FLIR. Yeah, it's possible that she smelt another male. Hello, my dear. Let's get out your way. I've been increasingly interested in whether or not she is coming into estrus. I think it's unlikely, but it's not impossible. And I've seen male tracks around here of late, and I haven't been able to identify who they were. I'm not sure who they were. pretty sure they were tingahanas or hosanas. But maybe she's smelling out another male. Straight back to the same post. And now past it. Hukumuri does come in here from time to time, but as far as I'm aware, he's way out west still. They're on IR. Okay, let's move from here. All right, we're going to have to turn on a few lights now. Oh, she's walking the other way. She's turning around. We're going to stay not close to her so that she can listen and hear what's going on. And in fact, even if she hasn't found the cub by 6:30, everybody, I'm going to call it by then, just in case we're affecting this. I don't think we are. I think we're okay where we are. We're keeping our distance. Now Rocky, for those of you like Rocky who are looking perhaps at the map of Djuma, Rocky, she is just parallel with Shibamu Road. That's Xibhamu. That's how it should be spelt. Shibamu Road, which is sort of south-central Djuma, a good mile and a bit from the dam cam. She stopped over there. We'll try and pick her up again. Senzo is operating two cameras at the same time here, so it is quite difficult. We've got her there with a FLIR thermal camera. There's some babblers calling up ahead. Babblers should be silent by this time of the day, but they will alarm call. All right. We are on the FLIR things. Oh, now we're back to the bush. Okay, let's move forward a bit. I have to make use of my spotlight. I can just see her. Alrighty, let's go back across to Sloth Bear. She who plays with her vomit. We'll wait here and see if Tundi doesn't have any luck. I hope she does. We'll keep you posted.
Sloth Bear is fast asleep. We're doing a lot of sitting and waiting this evening, all three of us, as we continue into unfolding the stories of wild Africa. Oh, that was a gauntlet line. I don't know where the rest of the family is. I'm assuming that they have a big kill somewhere, or I'm in the wrong place. I just don't think so. I don't think so. I feel as though a Sloth Bear is here for a reason, and I feel that this is where he thinks company is going to come. And even if it's not right where Waffles is keeping her cubs, it's still going to be close. I think. We might have to leave him. The problem is if he starts walking off into the night, I'm not going to follow him. He's a bit too young. There's too many dangers out here for one little cub. Not that he doesn't wander around on his own at night all the time. He does. But I don't follow the cubs at night. I'm happy to sit at the den with him. And at his age, I'm happy to sit with him without adult supervision. But there is absolutely no sign of Waffles. What's worrying me is she could actually be underground. And we've been sitting here the whole time with her and we haven't even realized. Which has happened to Manu and myself on a fair few occasions. We also spent, between Gigi, Scott and myself, we monitored Waffles' original natal den for probably close to 20 hours before realizing she'd moved, and we were monitoring an empty den. Not sitting at the den, but sitting by the side of the den, waiting for her to come back. Turned out she'd moved. It was a bit embarrassing, really. I owed Scott and Gigi some apologies. Just checking quickly. make sure I'm not missing something. A hyena did come past earlier, but I think it was a male, and it was not someone that Sloth Bear was in any way interested in greeting. He just completely ignored it, and it walked off past. Oh, goodness, little slobber. I might start meandering back towards the old den, just in case I'm in the wrong place. What to do? Well, Manu and myself have always been lucky in the past. We've somehow made decisions that have ultimately given us the greatest sightings, so we'll just have to trust in gut instinct. Exactly. Kirsty says we must follow our hearts. What about my stomach? Because my stomach is telling me that dinner is at least an hour's drive away. How do we feel about that? Let me tell you, those chocolate biscuits in the car have gone down very quickly. When in doubt, follow your stomach. Follow feet. Yes, that makes sense. Otherwise you'd fall on your face, says Kirsty. Follow stomach and then follow heart. Brain apparently has no say in anything whatsoever. Which is fair, I guess. You can overthink things. Best to ignore the thinking part of oneself. My stomach's making horrendous noises. It's reminding me that I really didn't eat enough breakfast this morning. Oh, North Clan, could you not have put your den slightly closer to home? No, because this is the perfect place for North Clan's den. While we sit, watch and wait, Tundi has given up on the sitting and waiting part and is now actively searching.
Well, she's certainly been doing that for a while now, and she's crossed into an area that is going to be extremely difficult to drive into. And in fact, I'm not prepared to drive into it because we will make a tremendous noise. And I just think that would be very unfair. You can still see her with the flare. I'm assuming we're on the flare. Are we? Are we on the flare? Yeah, so there we are. We can actually see her on the flare. The infrared won't reach in there. Like I say, I really don't think that anything's happened to Kalamba. We've certainly seen her call and wait this long before. But I don't want to cause further distress by going bashing in over these bushes. She stopped calling now. She's just walking around. Pretty now, I don't know if they can smell how old a scent mark is. I think they can smell if it smells fresh or if it smells old. But, you know, the ambient temperature and the amount of moisture there is and the wind and that sort of thing will affect that. And I don't think that they can compute necessarily, you know, taking all of those variables into account, how old it is. I'm sure they can smell a fresh one from an old one, but I think it probably varies as to how quickly a fresh scent becomes an old one. If that makes sense. Little bit of a call there. And for those of you who don't know and wondering what on earth picture you're looking at now, this is a thermal camera that picks up heat, basically. And you can see the bush all around her is as hot as she is. I keep hoping there's going to be a little pink ball bounding towards the shape we're looking at now. Well, Jessie, we can tell you if she sits still and we put the overlay on. Sandra, will you put the overlay back? And if you see that sort of crosshairs there, that's telling you what the temperature is there. So around about 34, 35 degrees Celsius. Oh, we've cut the temperature off. Okay, so that the hottest part of her, which is the ears there, is about, well, around about, as it's measuring it, probably around about 36 degrees Celsius. Obviously, if she was closer, it would do a much more accurate job. So 36 degrees Celsius was around about 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Possibly a little warmer, maybe 96. So pretty much body temperature, really, which is what you'd expect. Hasn't called for a while, like I said. And she's going to snooze there. Well, it's very convenient. Well, as she goes to have a little bit of a snooze, let's go across to Brent Leo Smith, who has another cat. And she, too, is having a long and well-deserved migration snooze.
Well, our lioness is contact calling, not properly roaring. No, she is getting a bit more going now. Looking back to the north, listening intently for any replies. So far we haven't heard any. And the other lioness is a flat cat. And you can see there's no more wildebeest around. They've all moved away from where the lions are. And with all the rain we've been having, you'll hear all the froggies. Bubbling kasirs, reed frogs. Oh, time for a snooze. Well, the head's looking heavy. I think I'm going to maybe move back up the road a little bit towards where we lost the third lioness. Maybe the rest of the pride might pop out up ahead somewhere. So I'm going to get my spotlight out. Where is my spotlight gone? And you can see a light in the background. I think that's Jamie down there. You can just see her car lights there. Oh, my zip stuck. Sorry. Oh, there we go. And the spotlight. I'm just going to turn on the light quickly so I can see. Whoop. It's right in front of me, of course. Bye, kitties. Let's see if we can find some more. Okay, well, I'm going to try and find the rest of the pride. While I do that, let's send you back to James to see if Tundi's still about.
She is still about. I think you're probably just looking at her eyes. I nearly said her ears peeping through the bush there. She hasn't moved from where you last saw her. We can still see her very clearly in the FLIR thermal camera. All right, so I think we're on the FLIR camera, from what I can gather. And still there is no sign of the cub. She's not calling anymore, and I've definitely seen this before. Where she calls and calls and moves around and then decides, I think I'll just have a little snooze. I've no doubt they'll find each other during the course of the evening, and we'll most certainly come back here in the morning. But for now, we must accept that the reunion is most likely not going to happen in the next 10 minutes. We can hope, though. And like I say, in this kind of darkness, I'm not going to go in there after her. Steve, it really does depend on the day and it depends on the habitat. So these cats don't move very far. I mean, the furthest I followed a male leopard in the daylight hours was probably about 3 kilometers, 2 miles or so. Just over 2 miles. And yeah, he walked and slept and walked and slept. She's moved very little during the course of this afternoon, probably only a total of about 1/4 of a mile. But if you go to the Cape or you go into desert areas where you find leopards, they'll move far further than that. They can move up to 10 kilometers, 6 miles a day probably sometimes, probably even more than that on some evenings. But these cats are not big on their exercise. This is a particularly prey-dense area for leopards, and so they don't have to move a huge distance. And of course, their territory size is almost entirely defined by the availability of prey. And the territories out here are not tremendously large, and that's because of the availability of prey. And so she doesn't mark every boundary every day. And indeed, if she's got something to eat, she'll sit sometimes for 3 or 4 days and do nothing. So exercise is not a huge priority for these cats. Right, Jamie's given up waiting at the one den. Now she's gone to the other den, and I don't know what she's got at that den, but I'm sure she's going to tell you about it very soon. I'm hoping that it will be wafflies. Will it be wafflies?
So I followed my stomach and went to check the old den, and would you believe it? Guess who? She's probably been here for the last 2 hours while we've been sitting with Sleepy Sloth Bear. It is Waffles in all her glory, the only triumph I can take away from this sheer piece of misfortune is that at least I predicted the move back to this den about 4 days ago. So that is a deep relief. Remember I said I think they're going to go back to the old den, it's much drier? Mm-hmm. Here we are. Manu just went, uh-huh. And he's like, yep, yes I do. Thanks, Manu, for the backup. Appreciate it.
All the time.
You know what, she's probably already brought her cubs out and gone back and sent them back down again. I can't believe it. Well, it just goes to show one should always follow one's stomach. Interestingly, I'm pretty certain Polar Bear was here a few moments ago as well. She's left now, but she was climbing right into the den hole. Look, it's dark, so I might have got the ID wrong. I might have named the wrong hyena. But she was calling and climbing into the hole. You know, we never fully confirmed that Polar Bear had only one cub. We were pretty certain. We thought we were pretty certain, but we never actually confirmed it. Oh, a big W. We drove past here earlier. There was not a sign, but she was probably lying in the entrance, and I was distracted by the elephants, and sometimes I just want to kick myself. I really do. We have no real control over a situation playing out like this. Not really. I mean, some of what we do is guesswork, but it's frustrating when you get the guess wrong. And now Waffles is going to laze around until the end of the sunset safari and not even reward us with a little peek of the wafflets. It's okay, Waffles. It's okay. I won't take it personally. You've also now moved to the furthest possible den away from camp, just saying. But it's the old den, the beautiful old den. All those moments with Rolf, with little cubs gambling over each other, that was here. When Lobster and Chow and Tip and Wombo were all tiny little things. I knew she'd come back here, it made sense. She's totally unconcerned. She is relatively undisturbable. Kona Bear, I have witnessed hyena mating, and in fact, I believe we've had it live before. I can't remember if it was during a safari or if it was during an unscheduled broadcast, but we have actually seen hyenas mating. It's an interesting process, and it would be really... Oh, right, I see. I had a little bit of comms crossover there. I thought Kirsty was trying to speak to me, but I don't think it was to me. Now, it's a very interesting process, and something I've been really wanting to show you all is when a female hyena rolls over onto her back, you can actually see at certain angles how the pseudopenis is inverted in the way that allows them to mate. It's actually very rare to see hyenas mating. The males have to do all sorts of ingratiating actions to win over the female's favor, which is why it pays off for immigrant males to actually make friends with natal females, because they might just be more inclined to mate with them. It's a fascinating process. It's quite a long process. It takes a while. It's not quite lion quick, nor is it nearly as frequent as lions will mate. I wonder who fathered Waffles' cubs. Be fascinating. Not going to be there yet, not there anytime soon. Yes, it was Scott. That's it. Kirsty's absolutely right. It was Scott who saw the hyenas mating live. And I know this because I included it in the footage that I sifted through to send to the researchers. I wonder who fathered your babies, Waffles? I bet it was Wallflower of the immigrant males. But who knows? Brandon, the collar on Waffles' neck, or around Waffles' neck, is not a GPS collar. It emits a radio frequency, which can then be picked up by a telemetry kit that is used to narrow down her location. So it's not a GPS collar in the same way that D'Artagnan the cheetah's collar gave off GPS locations. It is a radio collar. So the batteries will run out every now and again. They do last for a long time though. So it's not as though Waffles has to present her batteries for changing every day. It happens every couple of years. But that is what that collar does. And that data that is collected from that and being able to find Waffles is critical to understanding so many different aspects of these hyenas' lives. The matriarch is important. What is her territorial role? Where does she go in the territory? It actually helps to narrow down territory completely. When she disappears off to have babies, in theory, if it had been... Well, if we had used it, we could have found her natal den. As it happened, we stumbled upon it anyway. Just one of those things. Okay, so at least we know where to sit for a start. That is a really good start. We've also just learned that Waffles has changed dens three times in 4 weeks. So we know more than we knew earlier on this afternoon. This is where we will be first thing tomorrow if we don't stumble upon a birthing Topi at the same time. And those are all reasons why you should join us on the sunrise safari tomorrow. However, it has come to that time of night where we will be saying goodbye to you all. Join us tomorrow to find out if Tundi reunites with Thalamba. All that's left to do is say a big thank you to all of you, our entire incredible Safari Live team, but most importantly you. We'll see you in not too distant future for the Sunrise Safari.